Mirá, 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 mirá. Alta luz,
On a still, moonlit night in Jerusalem, the world seemed as though it was holding its breath. Suddenly, the quiet was shattered as a brilliant, blinding light tore through the darkness, illuminating the ancient city. A sound, otherworldly and deafening, echoed through the streets, and from the clouds descended a figure. Jesus, bathed in radiance, flanked by a shining angel. This was no dream or illusion. Witnesses across the Holy Land attested to the spectacle, leaving countless souls questioning their faith and the very nature of the world as they knew it. We are drawn to ask, what does this vision mean? Is it a mere trick of the light, or are we witnessing the long-foretold return of Christ? The prophesied moment when the heavens would open and God's messengers would descend to earth. The signs have been foretold for centuries, hidden within the sacred texts of the Bible. Could this be the moment the prophets warned us about? The time when the final battle between good and evil begins, with the gaze of the world fixated on Jerusalem. The implications are undeniable. Jerusalem, the spiritual center of the world, has always been a place of divine significance. The city's stones, ancient and hallowed, have borne witness to countless miracles, prophecies, and conflicts. Yet, on this night, something beyond comprehension has occurred. A celestial phenomenon unlike anything humanity has ever seen. As the radiant light continued to descend, accompanied by an overwhelming sound that shook even the most steadfast, an earthquake ripped through the city. It was as though the very foundations of the world trembled at the arrival of these heavenly beings. In the midst of political turmoil, as conflicts raged in Gaza and beyond, Israel had suddenly become the epicenter of divine revelation. The streets of Jerusalem, once echoing with the footsteps of prophets and apostles, were now filled with the murmur of fear and awe. Believers and skeptics alike found themselves grappling with an event that defied explanation. Could this be the fulfillment of the apocalyptic prophecies? Could we be on the brink of the ultimate confrontation between the forces of light and dark? The Bible speaks of tribulations, signs in the sky, and the coming of the Antichrist, all heralding the second coming of Christ. And now, in the heart of Israel, a divine spectacle has unfolded, leading many to question whether we are indeed living in the end times. The streets are filled with debate, and the world watches in both fear and fascination, waiting for the next chapter of this unfolding mystery. Jesus, the King of Kings, surrounded by angels, appeared in the heavens. This is not simply an event for scholars to interpret. It is a call to all of us to reflect on our place within the grand narrative of the Bible. In this moment, the world stands at a crossroads. The signs are undeniable, but their meaning is for each of us to decipher. Are we witnessing the beginning of the end? Or is this a reminder of God's presence and power, a call for humanity to turn back to faith? Jerusalem, a city that has endured centuries of war, prayer, and prophecy, now stands as the backdrop to a revelation that could change the destiny of all humankind. In the face of such overwhelming divinity, we are left to wonder, what role do we play in the divine plan? What lessons should we take from this extraordinary event? We squander these questions. One thing is certain, this celestial visitation has profound implications for the future of humanity. The mysteries of heaven have revealed themselves, and it is up to us to seek understanding in the light of God's eternal truth. The walls of Jerusalem, bathed in divine light, now call out to us all, inviting reflection, prayer, and a deeper connection to the divine. In a world increasingly filled with noise and distraction, this recent event in Jerusalem breaks through like a beacon of divine revelation. As the sun cast its golden rays over the sacred city, the skies opened, revealing a scene that has left theologians, scientists, and believers alike in awe. Jerusalem, the eternal heart of Israel, became the stage for an event that defies human comprehension. An event seemingly foretold by ancient prophecies whispered through the corridors of time. This vision, emerging amidst global unrest, conflicts, and uncertainties, reminds us of the unparalleled power of divine intervention in human affairs. At the center of this celestial vision, Jesus appeared, surrounded by the splendor of resplendent angels, their radiant wings reflecting the glory of heaven itself. The figure was striking, familiar yet transcendent, radiating peace and power. Those gathered around, pilgrims, religious scholars, and curious onlookers, were immediately drawn to the image. As if by instinct, they recognized him not only from the sacred texts, but from the deep places of their faith. His long hair flowed in the wind, his face calm and serene, yet his gaze pierced through the very souls of those who beheld him. The significance of this manifestation in Jerusalem cannot be overstated. It calls us to revisit the ancient prophecies, the words of Isaiah, Daniel, and Ezekiel, who foretold the signs and wonders that would precede the Messiah's return. In this moment, we are invited to reflect. Are we living in the days spoken of so long ago? The vision on the Mount of Olives mirrors those very prophecies, bringing to life the words of the Bible. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars. And upon the earth distress of nations, the scriptures declare. Now these signs are manifesting, and the world is watching. Crowds quickly gathered, their hearts filled with both fear and wonder. Social media lit up with blurry images, hasty videos, and emotional testimonies from those who were there, fueling global discussions about the event's meaning. Was it a divine message? A warning? A call to action? As these discussions grew, so too did the realization that this was not an isolated event. Similar phenomena had been witnessed in Jerusalem in years past, each occurrence deepening the mystery, each one seeming to draw us closer to a climactic moment in human history. The reaction from religious leaders was swift and divided. Some hailed the vision as irrefutable proof of the imminent return of Christ, a moment the faithful have awaited for centuries. Others, more cautious, called for patience and discernment, urging believers to prepare their hearts for what might be the final chapter in the biblical narrative. Scientists, too, have taken note, but the divine nature of the event resists earthly explanation. As much as they try to analyze the light, the figures, and the phenomena, they are left grappling with the limits of human understanding. This is more than just a vision. It is a call to humanity to reassess our role in the divine plan. The Bible tells us that Christ will return not in secret, but with power and great glory, accompanied by the hosts of heaven. Could this vision be a foretaste of that promised day? The faithful are left to ponder whether this divine spectacle is not only a reminder of God's control over the cosmos, but also a direct fulfillment of prophecy. It challenges each of us to ask, are we ready? Have we prepared our hearts for the kingdom of God? As the world spins on, distracted by wars, politics, and personal struggles, this miraculous event in Jerusalem pulls our focus back to the eternal. The shining figures of Jesus and the angels serve as both a comfort, and they tell us that the kingdom of God is near, that the time for spiritual preparation is upon us. The words of the Gospels echo in our minds. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come. Jerusalem, the eternal nexus of spiritual and historical significance, has once again been thrust into the spotlight of divine intervention. In a world fraught with unrest and division, it is here in this ancient city that the heavens have opened, revealing a profound mystery that challenges our very understanding of God's plan. As you embark on this journey, prepare to confront questions that pierce the soul and invite deep reflection on our place within the grand tapestry of biblical prophecy. The signs are unmistakable. The hand of God is at work, and Jerusalem stands as a testament to the unfolding of His will. Amidst the rising conflict in Israel, the unexpected presence of Jesus Christ and a legion of angels shook not just the physical realm, but also the very core of human faith. This divine manifestation did not occur in isolation. It happened during a period of intense strife, echoing the prophecies spoken by ancient voices long forgotten by many. What was seen in Jerusalem was more than a vision. It was a clarion call urging humanity to turn toward the divine before it's too late. For centuries, Jerusalem has stood as a focal point of religious devotion and tension. Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike revere this city, attributing sacred meaning to its monuments. The Western Wall, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and the Dome of the Rock are more than mere landmarks. They are symbols of faith, perseverance, and spiritual identity. Each stone holds stories of devotion and struggle. But now, those stories are joined by a new chapter, one that heralds the possibility of Christ's return. How should we, as mere mortals, interpret this sign? Is it a call for peace, a sign of impending judgment, or perhaps both? The Bible is filled with forewarnings of such moments. Times when the heavens would speak to us in signs and wonders, paving the way for Christ's second coming. The visitation in Jerusalem is a living reminder of these ancient prophets. As the scriptures say, there will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on the earth distress among nations. This event, then, is no coincidence. It serves as both a warning and a promise, urging believers to prepare their hearts for the trials to come and the glory that will follow. Public reaction to the appearance was as varied as humanity itself. Some embraced it immediately, their faith renewed and strengthened, while others demanded proof, skeptical of what they had seen. Social media became the battleground of belief and doubt, with images and videos of the event spreading like wildfire. Theologians, scholars, and religious leaders scrambled to interpret the meaning behind this manifestation, engaging in fervent debates about its implications. Was this a sign of Christ's imminent return, or a more symbolic reminder of the need for spiritual renewal? Jerusalem, once more, finds itself at the center of a divine revelation, a city steeped in history, now vibrating with the energy of a new spiritual awakening. This moment is a stark reminder that God's presence is ever watchful, and that in times of conflict, His messages often emerge with greater urgency. The ancient prophecies are not relics of the past, but living truths. The struggle over Jerusalem, its sacred sites, and its religious heritage has fueled countless wars, conflicts, and diplomatic tensions. Yet, despite the bloodshed and the endless disputes, the city remains a beacon of hope for those who await the fulfillment of God's promises. But amid the reverence, the truth of Jerusalem's history has been systematically erased, hidden beneath layers of modern politics and destruction. The deliberate removal of ancient sections of the city, particularly those near the Temple Mount, has sought to obscure the historical presence of the Israelites, an act driven by forces that would erase God's covenant with His chosen people. It is in this context that the recent divine visitation takes on even greater significance. As the world's attention turns to Jerusalem, we must ask ourselves, what is our role in this unfolding drama? Are we passive observers or active participants in the fulfillment of prophecy? The convergence of past, present, and future in the sacred city demands our attention. For it is here that the boundaries of time blur. The presence of Christ and his angels in Jerusalem is more than just a spectacle. It is a reminder that the promises of old are still alive, waiting to be fulfilled. As believers, we are called to witness these signs with open hearts, knowing that each moment brings us closer to the ultimate revelation, the return of Christ and the establishment of his kingdom on earth. What will your response be when the heavens once again speak? The deliberate erasure of biblical history unfolding before our eyes is not just a historical oversight. It is an echo of an age-old struggle against the manifestation of God on earth. In this sacred battle, the city of Jerusalem stands as the epicenter. For over 6,000 years, its soil has borne witness to the divine covenant, and its stones tell the tale of spiritual resilience against the forces that seek to extinguish the truth. Yet, despite relentless efforts to rewrite or suppress the biblical narrative, one thing remains clear. Divine truth cannot be buried beneath the rubble of forgotten artifacts. It is a truth woven into the very fabric of Jerusalem's existence. A truth that transcends physical destruction and political turmoil. The Bible reminds us that God's justice is not confined by time or space. His protection over his people and the sacred sites he has ordained remains steadfast, even as the world grows more complex and faith is tested by earthly force. This ongoing conflict over Jerusalem's heritage is, at its core, a battle for the truth. A truth that is not merely about preserving ancient artifacts, but about safeguarding the spiritual heart of humanity. Jerusalem is more than a city. It is a living symbol of God's enduring covenant. The Western Wall, the Mount of Olives, the Dome of the Rock. All these places pulse with the energy of prophecy and divine promise. As we look at the current unrest, the tensions between Palestinians and Israelis, we must ask, how do these events fit within the grand tapestry of God's plan? Could the mounting conflict over this sacred land be part of the unfolding prophecies long spoken by ancient prophets? Zechariah foretold that Jerusalem would become a cup of staggering to the nations surrounding it. And indeed, the city continues to confound the world with its complex layers of faith, history, and political strife. But even in this confusion, we must not lose sight of God's ultimate promise. Jerusalem is where heaven touches earth, where the biblical past intersects with our present and points toward a future of redemption. Every layer of its history, every archaeological discovery or destruction, reveals a piece of the spiritual puzzle. And as the battle for Jerusalem rages on, the faithful must unite in the defense of its heritage, not out of mere nostalgia, but because Jerusalem represents the hope of divine reconciliation and peace for all who believe. The destruction of historical evidence, the violence at holy sites, and the unresolved disputes all serve as poignant reminders that humanity's struggle with faith is as much internal as it is external. Each event, each act of aggression against Jerusalem, brings us closer to the fulfillment of ancient prophecies and the ultimate realization of God's justice. As the nations grapple over this sacred city, one question resounds. Are we witnessing the birth pangs of a new era where God's presence will once again be made manifest? Prepare yourself to delve deeper into Jerusalem's mysteries, where ancient prophecies collide with contemporary reality, and where faith, history, and divine intervention intertwine. What you are about to uncover may not only reshape your understanding of the past, but also strengthen your resolve in the divine truth that cannot be suppressed. The relentless efforts to erase the biblical legacy of Jerusalem are not merely acts of historical vandalism. They are a reflection of the deeper spiritual battle unfolding before our eyes. The Holy Scriptures have long foretold the trials Jerusalem would face, where its sacredness would be questioned and its very essence threatened. Yet, through this turmoil, God's covenant remains unbroken. The physical destruction of artifacts cannot extinguish divine truth. As prophesied, Jerusalem is more than just land. It is a divine symbol of faith, hope, and redemption. Every conflict surrounding it serves as a reminder that God's justice will ultimately prevail and His protection is eternal. Are we witnessing the fulfillment of ancient prophecies? Could the struggles over Jerusalem signify the nearing of a spiritual climax in God's grand design? This sacred city, a meeting point for faith, holds within its walls the mysteries of God's enduring plan for humanity.